Everyone dreams about living an uncommon life, but how we define that dream is very different for each of us. And for most, it's a lifelong pursuit. Welcome to the Uncommon Life Project podcast. We're going to introduce you to people who are living that life or enjoying the journey to get there. We're going to also give you some tools, tricks, and tips for starting or accelerating your own efforts to live an uncommon life, a life worth celebrating and savoring. Please welcome your hosts, Brian Dewhurst and Philip Ramsey.
Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of your favorite show, my favorite show, and definitely Brian's favorite show, The Uncommon Life Project. I'm your host, Philip Ramsey.
And I'm Brian Dewhurst.
Thanks for tuning in to another amazing episode. Cannot wait to get into it, but here's what I'll say. There's been a lot going on. 2020 has been crazy. So we wanted to, one, encourage you, and two, just say, I hope this is a refuge for you just to get a little glimpse of something different of what your life could be like. Or if you're just down and out, hope this gives you some encouragement. So, Brian, who do we have today? What else do you want to say?
Just that you're not alone, and
right.
This is a great year to start something new, too. We have in studio the one, come on, the only, Carisah Lee.
What's up?
From Rosie and Jean. Rosie and Jean.
I'm going to do the bio now.
All right.
I wanted to kind of just set it up.
Right.
So we have Carisah. She's originally from California, made her way from the coast to Iowa, and now she is rocking a new business called Rosie and Jean with her best friend, Sam, and we are going to hear the story today. So welcome to the show, Carisah Lee.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
Get your mic up there,
okay.
sister. Move it around.
Sorry.
I get so excited. We get so excited. We got to hear you.
This is my first time on a podcast, so I apologize
She's
to
lying.
the masses.
She's being humble. This is actually her 150th. I mean, she does these all the time. And
true.
you're going to feel
In my
like-
sleep.
In your sleep.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, honestly. I'm going to start out the show by saying that this is why we wanted to highlight Carisah and Rosie and Jean. It was a side hustle that blew up. So there's obviously complications with both. It's good and it's also challenging. There's obstacles, good and bad. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted her to get on the show for all those other people out there that have this uncommon idea. And what if that actually worked? And then what do you do and how do you build a business around it? Carisah Lee, we have a lot of questions. Where do we start? Where do you want to start?
Oh, I don't even know. Let's take it back. So we could start at the beginning of November last year, and Rosie and Jean wasn't even a twinkle
In your
Wasn't
father's
a
eye.
thing.
our eye. Wasn't even an idea. Wasn't anything
Right.
until actually just like a little less
It's
or
been
a little
12 months, just less than 12 months, right?
Yep, right under November 17th will be our 1 year official anniversary.
Philip's birthday, by
It's
the
a
way.
good
And
it's
it's
a good
crazy.
day.
So I could tell you kind of how like the idea came about and then
Yes.
just
I want to
where-
say one thing real quick. So
Okay.
for our listeners, you're married,
Yep.
you have kids,
Yep. So don't try to take me on a date. It's not going to happen.
and you kind of had like another business,
Yeah.
like another like deal. Like
Yeah.
this wasn't. So just to give that back context.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah.
I can do that. So I have been doing social media management, digital marketing, social media consulting for 6 years. I have worked from home for 6 years since we started having children. And so I've known the work at home life that a lot of people around the world are experiencing now that they've never experienced before.
Right.
And it's like if you are a parent, it's tough. It's probably tough even if you aren't a parent. Right now, it's probably really tough. It's not supposed to be this hard.
Right.
The way that it is. So, yeah, I worked from home and raised children. Prior to that, I was always very good at coming up with really unique jobs for myself in ways to make money. For the longest time before we had kids, actually, even when we did have children, we were house sitters and dog sitters, and we made a killing. Like that is where the money's at, people.
To hang out in other people's houses.
Yeah.
And get paid for it.
Exactly.
Any dog's
Like
good.
it got to a point where I was literally a salaried employee for a family to be their dog nanny, basically.
Oh,
Wow.
Can I get a witness? So what
the
you're
dream
hearing,
life.
Chris is a hustler.
Yeah.
She's a hustler
You know,
through and through.
That's how I describe myself. Not
Serial
really.
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yes. So I've always come up with like unique ways to make money or have a business. And for a long time, that was house sitting. And then we started having children and we continued to house that. We like took a pack and play with us wherever we went. And on top of that, I was working from home doing social media management, digital marketing. So it was nice because like I could work from literally anywhere. And so I continued to get more accounts doing social media management and it was awesome, but I was feeling very spread thin. Like there was only one of me and creating content and, creating graphics and stuff took a lot of time. And at one point I was working for like 10 different accounts and that was like really tiring and I needed something like for a while that was like my creative outlet, but then it became something that I just like had to do.
Well, 10 different accounts means 10 different bosses. And
and
that's
10 different voices
expectations
too.
And yes.
Social media is hard enough.
Yeah, and I like already
voice.
have multiple different personalities, but like I was pretending to be all these different people on the interwebs.
Yes.
I'm the ultimate catfish. So anyway, I had been doing social media management, and I honestly love it. I still love it to this day. And then last year, and I'm still doing it to this day. By the way, I think that's important to know, especially like in this season as our business is growing. So last year I went to California to surprise my best friend Sam for her 30th birthday.
Shout out to Sam.
I know.
What?
What's good, baby girl? How you doing? So I went there and I was sitting around a table at Sam's birthday party and we were talking about clay earrings and how they were like a very big thing in California at that time. I had never worn a pair of clay earrings or anything like that. And a friend was like,
Me
Carisah.
either, by the way.
What?
Me either, by the way.
Brian.
That's not what I heard. We
great
make
to see you without
clip-ons,
clay
by the
earrings
way.
today.
You got good lopes. I'm sure you get that all the time.
I feel like I do have good lobes. Thank you for noticing.
You're welcome. So
awesome.
we were sitting around a table and a girl was like, Carisah, you should see if that catches on in Iowa. Like try making clay earrings. I don't think I've ever touched clay in my life unless it was like in a mask form and I was putting it on my face. So I was like, okay, sure. So I literally came back to Iowa and I didn't want it to cost any money out of my family's pocket. Like, because if this thing was like a train wreck, like, I'm so sorry, Jared. Like, if I was like paying hundreds of dollars a day into something or a week into something that was like just a cute little hobby that like looked like earrings that my 5-year-old at the time made. I didn't want to do that. So I was actually donating plasma to go buy my supplies. So I would go and I'd do the hour donation. They instantly paid me and then I'd go straight to like a store
go buy some
to buy
clay.
my supplies and then I get to work. And so I started doing that and then Sam was like, well, I want to try this too. Like she's super creative and loves like sassy earrings, sassy accessories. So she started making stuff in California. I was making stuff here in Iowa. And then she's like, I think I want to do this as a business. And I was like, ooh, I was kind of thinking that too. And I was like, what if we just do it together? And she's like, oh my gosh, are you serious? And then she was like, what do we call it? And this was literally like November, I think 13th.
Okay. So
2019.
it was up in 4 days.
Yes. I'm not kidding. So it was
Came
like,
together
We need to
fast.
go back. So as you were making these clay earrings,
yeah,
did you know that they were actually catching momentum? Does that make sense? Like,
no.
okay, no, you didn't know.
No.
You just said, hey, Sam, let's start a business.
So I knew in California they were catching momentum and they were like a really big thing.
Okay.
But here
Didn't know.
No, because we live in Iowa and we're normally like 10 years behind the times, I'm wearing a fanny pack today, folks. What does that tell you?
It's hard for me not to ask what the perception of Iowans are to Californians, but I won't do that. We won't even do that.
Oh,
because I feel like
it's
we could
good.
go down. It is?
It's really good.
Well, okay, then
I
let's
mean,
go
my
down that road.
friends,
Right.
when they were on their way here, they were like, hey, how long does it take to get through customs?
What?
Yep. Do we like cut our hair into a mullet before we get there? Like, which is so wrong.
Corn
and like,
stalk? Yeah.
brought my windbreaker, which honestly I do own proudly. Shout out. Like Ankeny wind is a real thing, but not with a windbreaker. We stopped that.
We stopped that.
Even in the derecho.
Anyway, so.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel good. I just thought it was like, hey, they live in a field with corn.
Well, that's also that.
Okay.
But wearing mullets and.
But now that you live here, we got street cred in Cali.
That's right.
Okay. All right,
Don't
keep
hate
going.
the player, hate the game.
That's right.
I
So
didn't
you start
understand.
November 13th. And you
Basically,
start
it was
talking
like
through it.
November 13th or 12th, something right around there, like really
We're
ridiculous.
talking days.
Days.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, what would we call it? And I was like, oh, like literally off the top of my head. I took our middle names and they're cute. And we're cute. And earrings are cute. And I was like, well, how about Rosie and Jean? She's like, done, let's do it.
Let's go.
And so we were like thinking of like starting an Instagram account. We knew exactly how we wanted to like
Sure.
do the structure of our business, how we wanted to sell things. And so we decided to do an Instagram account. And I had already had an Instagram account that had 900 followers on it. Is where I sold like an MLM makeup. And I didn't actively do it, but my target demographic was already there.
Right.
And so I was like, hey, Sam, what if we just strip
that.
this account, flip it,
Mhm.
and just like say, hey, we're having a launch on Sunday. And that's exactly what we did.
Flip it
Wow.
and reverse it.
Yep. Put that thing down, flip it, and reverse
Yep,
it.
yep.
That's how Rosie and Jean started.
And they're all MLM, so they're ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was crazy. And so we said, hey, here's who we are. We're having a launch on Sunday. And here's how it's going to work. And on Sunday, we like had inventory and posted it. And then like within an hour and a half,
Gone.
gone with wait lists, like made fat cash. And
what
we
do
were
you
like,
think at that point? Like, are you like, uh-oh, or this is amazing?
well, I
Probably
remember
both.
Sam FaceTiming me, and I wish like you guys could see my face right now. And she just FaceTimed me. I answered, and neither one of us we didn't say anything. It was just pure shock, like of uninterrupted eye contact of just like, what just happened?
Right.
And so we're like, well, when are we doing our next one? Because let's go. Like this is
into it.
crazy.
Wow.
And I mean, since then, it has just really taken off. We're super thankful. There's obviously like growing pains and hard things through it all. But that was like the moment where we're like, all right, we should probably like consider doing this a little more than a hobby.
Sure.
And so we continued to do launches, and then we changed them and started calling them drops because that's cooler and like more
drop
relevant.
it like it's hot.
Yep, that's the only way we drop it. And so we've been making earrings for 87 years, it feels like at this point. So yeah, that's the story.
All right. So from that moment, first day, when did you decide to drop the next product? And then how do you start walking into this like product launching and walking through the, I would say, administration of all of it?
Yeah. So I want to say it was like 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks later, because what we do, this is something very important to know about our brand, is first of all, Sam and I are ridiculous. Like 12-year-old boys, immature. We have known each other our whole lives, but became friends in college. And we're like the friends who like laugh in situations when we're not supposed to. We were in a college class together. I had to crawl out often because I was just going to lose it. And so the thing about our business is all of our drops are named after a story of our friendship.
Oh, that's cool.
Things that have like made us pee our pants. That happens on the regular, unfortunately.
So give us an example of one thing.
Okay, so the first one after our first drop was our Clue drop. And it was named after the board game Clue. That is something that we do together whenever we're together. We'll love to solve crime. Basically, detectives.
I'm pretty sure that we're related in some way.
Yeah,
You and I
know.
cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, we're
Love
soul
it.
sisters.
I totally agree. You're my spirit animal.
Yep. So we named that one after Clue, and all of the pieces were inspired by the board game. And we told the story about how we went on a trip with Sam's husband. He had like a business conference, and they invited me to come so I could like keep Sam busy and out of trouble, which is funny. And so I went with them to Monterey last summer, and we were at the Embassy Suites, and we brought Clue with us because that's how we were going to pass the time.
Embassy Suites, yes.
And we recruited people in the hotel lobby because you can't just play with two people.
No.
It's not good with two people.
No.
Especially if you're like competitive.
Oh, yeah.
And like we literally invited these two women in the hotel lobby. Like, hey, you
What
like
do you
snacks?
think?
So do we. You see this board game we have here?
Let's
Picture
go.
your life
With us.
solving crime and losing.
And snacks.
So
And then us beating you.
this mom and this daughter who like I think the mom was like
Oh,
late
my
50s
goodness.
and then the
This
daughter
is
was
amazing.
30s. Okay, the mom was probably 60 something. Anyway, she looked great. So we played Clue. I'm not kidding, for hours. Like
Oh,
6
so great.
hours
Marathon.
with these strangers. And finally, like within like hour 4 probably, the mom was like, I get it. She solved the crime. She was like, you guys only invited us because you wanted to see who would win out of you two. We're like, that's exactly why we invited you.
You actually debunked the whole thing.
Yes,
Like, you kid,
I know. I think
Oh,
you
man.
actually win now.
I really want to play Clue right now.
Yeah, it was Sam and
that's
Carissa in the lobby
With two random strangers.
with two random strangers
So that's
and a bunch of snacks.
Killing.
Perfect.
Yeah,
a great
Killing snacks and strangers.
So that's like the structure of our drops. We tell stories of our friendship, and then the earrings are typically named, like inspired or named after something from that story, or just something with a ridiculous name.
Do your followers care about the story? Or like, how do you get
Big
those
time.
out time?
Mhm.
How do you get those out to the followers to be able to do the launch?
Through a social media post.
Right, okay.
So sometimes it's just within a picture as a post where we like tell the story, or I get on either Instagram Live or Instagram Stories,
Right.
and I share the story. And so what's super fun about the people that follow us is they are very invested in our friendship.
Right.
And we are very invested in them as well. So they like our stories invite them into our friendship
Good.
and include them, and we love them. So we started out with 900 followers, and now we're at almost 7,000,
Oh, that's great.
which is pretty cool for a year.
Right.
And, you know, the goal is to grow slow and continue to just do what we're doing. Because we have like some really incredible women that follow us and are loyal. There's one girl that buys hundreds of dollars of earrings since the very beginning,
No.
which is crazy. I'm like, I don't even have that many earrings, and I
Right,
make them.
Right.
So really wonderful women. And then a lot of their husbands actually follow us. And so the structure of like how we sell things is we post our inventory on our Instagram page, say how much they are, like each earring, how much they are, how many we have available, and then people comment sold. And we do it all at once. So there's panic buying.
Right.
And people comment sold, and then we'll heart their comment, which is like, it's called liking their comment if they get it. And so it's competitive.
Right.
It's literally
It's an auction
competitive
type.
shopping.
Right. Auction type.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you see like what your friends are buying and everything. So
Brilliant.
yeah, it's pretty cool. And then people can comment waitlist, and then we see like what the demand is, what we want to make more of if we can. And so husbands follow us, but a lot of them won't comment sold on our stuff. They like get a backstage pass basically, and will just message us and say, I don't want my wife to see that I'm buying these for her.
Right.
Is it?
Yeah. Give me those.
Yes, exactly. And so we got like some Prohibition era, like earring deals going on with the door
VIP.
nobody knows about. And
Yes.
yeah, it's awesome.
That's
so
way
cool. Okay, man. You probably have. I'm asking too many questions.
Well, I think we often talk about this, the ability to, because it's like we've had the success in a year, but like you have this background of social media for several years. You're obviously personable and extroverted. Can you take our listeners kind of behind the scenes of how you use that experience, to make social media decisions? Does that make sense? Like the X's and O's, so to speak, of how, if somebody else wanted to sell a product online, what are the X's and O's? You kind of mentioned using an existing account, which is genius.
So that was probably one of my smartest ideas I've ever had. I actually don't have a lot of smart ideas. But yeah, that was a pretty brilliant idea to start off. If you're running a business off of social media, or honestly any business in general, if you're not on social media, you're doing it wrong. That is where the world is right now.
Yeah.
We are not
Especially this
together.
year.
Right.
Exactly. We are on the interwebs. That is where we're interacting. And so social media presence is key, whether you're selling something directly on a social media platform, or if you're just trying to push people towards your business and to start that relationship and dialogue with them. It starts on social media. A lot of people don't Google things or Google businesses anymore, especially me with restaurants. Show me the goods. Right. Show me the food. Show me what I can expect. And that's where I become bought in. And that's where like the sales and the relationships start to take place. So whether you have like a business where you're selling something on social media, or if you just have a business, the magic sauce is post on social media, be present, and be consistent. That's what I tell anyone who's like, let me pick your brain on social media. Like,
I think there's like an element of authenticity too, of, you're sharing personal, intimate stories of you and your friend, and
absolutely.
And like, that's a deep connection.
Yeah, that's where you truly invite people in. And whether you're big corporate something or other, there are people, there are relationships behind the scenes. And when you can like share the story, or like share a piece of a moving piece or a personal piece that plays into your business, that's what people want to hear right now. And that's what, that's where they get bought in.
The other thing I think, obviously we're shooting this at the end of the year. It's 2020
yeah,
for our listeners. And so what has it meant to you to have this platform in really a tough year for a lot of people?
Yeah. Honestly, I feel super grateful that the Lord has blessed us with this business that like just came out of nowhere. We would have never predicted this. And that's kind of the theme of 2020, right? Like what just happened and what is going to happen. So I feel super grateful. And, a lot of businesses took a big hit with COVID. And so when we decided to like really invest in our time and our efforts into Rosie and Jean, we didn't know what would happen with COVID. And we thankfully were a business that thrived because of the structure of our business. Right. Because like we did a drop right when everything shut down. And we were like, I don't know how this is going to go. Yeah. I think we had 500 pairs of earrings to sell or something like that. And they were like gone in 60 seconds because that was where like everybody is panicking, purchasing because there was nothing on the shelves in the grocery stores, and they knew that they could come to Rosie and Jean's page and actually get something. Wow. Maybe, unless it was sold out, they could come at waitlist and then we make it later. So like that has been amazing for us, and we're super grateful that happened. Wow. One of the like things that has been hard in the business is there are like our business structure. You can see like it's how much we sell. Right. You can see our designs. You can see that.
Low barrier to competition, probably.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of people
Them imitators.
Yeah. And honestly, not all of them are imitators. They are talented creatives as well. But like to see friends start to do it and everything too. Like, honestly, you have to do what's best for your family in this time. Right. To figure out a way to raise money if that's what your family needs. So there's no hurt feelings there. But that's been hard to see is like people who like supported us now doing that, but also we're all about that. Like we want to see people succeed and chase after their dreams. And especially like for the stay-at-home mom to find a way to make money for their family. And some women don't feel like they have full purpose in just being a mother. Sure. They want to feel like they can financially contribute to their family. And so when women can find that, like we are so happy for them, even if it means they're making clay earrings too. But that is something that has been kind of
so good,
hard and discouraging, but also like, ooh, this is actually like who we are to the core. We want to see you do well. And there is room for everyone to
Right.
win and do well.
Right.
So anyway.
No, that's awesome. I think, when you look at like a Proverbs 31 woman and it talks about being I can't remember the exact quote of the Bible, but, being the one with the linens or textiles and doing the different things, within the community. I think this year has put that in center stage. Not only do we need the money, but there's a lot of different ways to make it now with everything moving even more online than it was.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what's kind of cool is I remember last year in February, in like February or something like that, I was sitting down talking to a friend. I've actually talked with a lot of women to like help them find ways to make money that wouldn't feel like work to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that brings them joy. And I remember sitting down with a good friend and we were like kind of coming up with this plan on what she could do. She's like, I know I want to make some money for my family. I know that I don't want it to take a ton of time away from my kids. So we started like dreaming and thinking of things. And then out of nowhere, like Rosie and Jean became a business and now she works with us.
Wow. So
and
cool.
it's better than what we dreamed up together as
Right.
as
It's becoming
friends.
its own deal. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's pretty fun.
Okay. I want to just shout out to Jared.
Oh,
J Money.
how's your beard doing?
He's a beard brother.
He's cute.
Oh, he is smoking hot. What was
That's
his...
my husband, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sorry about that. So what was his like involvement, supportiveness? How did he help you get to where you're at today? We find in the Uncommon Life, that's a huge component of it. So I
Yeah.
just want to give you some time to just gloat on him. And
Oh, I would be happy to. Jared is awesome because he's super organized and like he needs like a plan. I'm very spontaneous. If you follow the Enneagram at all, I'm a 7. I love the party. I don't love the boring. I like not knowing what's coming. And that's where I like thrive.
right.
Because I'm like, I'm just going to do all this because I don't know what's going to happen. And Jared's like,
We gotta get
okay,
to it.
Right.
we need to put a plan in motion. And so Jared has been super helpful, like helping us figure out like, okay, this is how much you need to, these are how many earrings you need to make, or this is how you need to price it so that you can make this money. He keeps track of all of our finances. He drills earrings for me.
Oh, yeah, he does.
He helps us
husbands.
dream bigger than where we're at right now because everything has grown so fast for us. We have to like stay in the here and the now because we're just trying to keep our heads above water. And I do need to also give a shout out to Sam because she is a hustler. Like she works crazy hours. I for a while was working the other accounts that I had, doing social media management and doing Rosie and Jean on top of it. And Sam was like carrying a huge load of the business, and she still does. Most of our clients are in California, or our customers, and so she has been working and spreading herself thin, and so she's just like drowning in earrings, but she loves it.
Sure.
And in California, you basically still have to stay home anyway. So she's been working hard because she's at home also, and that's just who she is. That's in her blood.
That's cool.
And so now that I'm doing Rosie and Jean a lot more full time, we both are feeling the heaviness and like the load of the work. That there's a lot. And so Jared has been super helpful at like helping us dream big, like think a few years down the road what's coming,
Right.
so that you can prepare for that and start putting pieces into place for that. So he's awesome. And then Sam's husband is also super awesome.
Don't know him as well, but I'm sure he's amazing.
His name's Yasser. He also has a glorious beard.
Yes.
And he is a lawyer. And so he has great legal advice. And he's also, his family owns a business, a Mexican restaurant, the best one in California. And so his like business mindedness and being a business owner has really helped us.
Priceless, I'm
as
sure.
well, because we have no idea what we're doing. We're just doing it. And I kind of like that.
So what is your future for Rosie and Jean?
Oh, I honestly don't even know. If you would have asked me 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, I knew that I could tell you, well, we're starting to like incorporate new like materials for earrings. Like we're not just clay earrings. Clay typically is found in our earrings in some way or another, but we're now pouring resin, which is like a more durable material, and like creating our own designs in resin as well. So that, and then we may, we may offer wholesale earring pieces to jewelry makers, so that they can use Rosie and Jean pieces on their earrings.
Good idea. Just expanding the whole brand.
Yeah. Who knows if that'll happen.
Right. But there's a vision there.
Yeah, that's the vision right now.
I want to know, so how do our listeners find out more about you? Like, how do they contact you? How do they find Rosie and Jean? Obviously, Instagram. Tell us all your handles.
So we are on we are on Instagram, and you can find us. Our handle is rosie.and.jean. And you can check out our page. You can follow us. We will be releasing a website soon, which is rosieandjean.com. And it's not live yet because we know that once we release our website, there's gonna be more orders we have to fulfill.
Right.
But our website will have our always in stock items. And so you will be able to find us on there as well.
Gosh, it's so cool.
But Instagram is where the party's at.
Oh, I bet. I want to just say this because we obviously never ever talk about us. But like we get to do this every day. Is like meet people like Carisah and Jared.
Yeah.
Help
You're
them,
welcome.
Yes. Yes. And help them walk down this path of uncommon life. And do this in a way that is right for them. And so here's the key points to your story. And I'd say Rosie and Jean and you and Jared and just your financial picture. But first, you've got to know your gifts that you have currently.
Yep.
Once you have found those, you have to invest in those. Okay. Then what I love about your story, you have to figure out what your risk tolerance is of how much are you willing to sacrifice. And sometimes that's financially, a lot of times it's time, but whatever works for you and your family's budget. For you, it was plasma.
That's right.
Nothing. And so this is truly a company built on blood and plasma.
Actually, plasma. It separates blood from the plasma, but you know.
Okay. Then once you have that, you have to build a community around it. Once you have that, you need to have a creative way to build hype.
Yes.
Not only is that, but you have to be consistent and you have to be present and do that as much as you can. Okay. Then you have to make sure your spouse is supportive of the whole thing. And in that plan, we find many times, not only do you get more excited about waking up in the morning, your financial picture changes too.
Yeah.
But if it didn't, you go back to phase 2 of like, well, we didn't risk more than we should have anyway. So it's a learning thing. It's a constant. Is it working? Is it not? And so that's what we do here at Uncommon Wealth Partners is we do help people step into that role. And watching them get excited about their future is so rewarding. So I want to, 1, thank you for being uncommon. 2,
for once in my life.
Well, let's be honest.
I think it's most of the time.
I'm going to say, if you've listened to anything in this podcast, it's a little bit more than once.
And someone's thanking me for being uncommon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there it is.
Very rare.
Okay. But man, I really thank you for just sharing your story. Thank you for jumping in. And I'm really excited about Rosie and Jean and the future. And you and Sam, I mean, I feel like the sky's the limit.
I'm gonna challenge you. We're playing Clue, the 4 of us. I want a Clue game.
Wait, so Sam, Carisah, Philip, and Brian.
That's right.
Okay, dibs on Miss Peacock.
You have her. I'm going mustard all the way.
We're big board gamers here, so Philip and I are. So
we're in.
We're
doing it.
All right.
Well, thank you for listening. You've been listening to the Uncommon Life Project. I've been your host, Philip Ramsey.
And I'm Brian Dewhurst.
Tune in next time. Until then, be uncommon.
Thanks, everybody.
Goodbye.
That's all for this episode of the Uncommon Life Project, brought to you by Uncommon Wealth Partners. Be sure to visit uncommonwealth.com to learn more about our services. Don't miss an episode as we introduce you to inspiring people who are actively pursuing an uncommon life.